The Mets blew a brutal game yesterday versus Atlanta. They cannot maintain leads right now. David Peterson here in the fourth inning, nursing a 6-run lead, is part of a Mets pitching staff that ends up allowing 9 runs off 4 hits, 5 walks. Michael Harris had a grand slam in this one. He's been one of the best hitters in the second half of the season after being one of the worst hitters in the first half of the season. Starters are not giving length. There was some offense here early on. They scored enough to win the ball game, but the pitching staff is crumbling in mid-August. This happens to teams. But what the heck is going on with the Mets? Are they going to be able to recover from this, or are the Braves and others going to have fun playing spoiler for the next 6 weeks and knock this team out of the playoffs?
Man, I mean, to say that the Mets aren't going to make the playoffs is bold for even me. Beginning of the season, I got roasted by Mets fans for saying they're going to finish third. That didn't mean I didn't like the Mets. It also didn't mean that I thought the Mets were the best team in the National League East. It just means that I didn't think they were built to withstand 162 games to be the best team in the East, let alone in the National League, which I think that's what they want to be. And everything is going wrong right now. The team forgot to hit with runners in scoring position, and when they did, you can't overcome. You can't overcome 5 straight starters not getting into the 5th inning. You can't overcome that. There is just, especially in July and August, because the bullpen's just going to be so exhausted. And granted, beginning of the season when the Mets were hot and even Juan Soto wasn't hitting during that time, or to Juan Soto levels, the team was winning because this bullpen was ridiculous. It was just a cavalcade of dudes who were just having career years. Some have been sent down to AAA. And now this bullpen is getting tired. You need your starters to go longer. This team wasn't built for starters to go longer. One of their free agent signings, I'm not calling Sean Manaea a free agent signing because that was a great signing, brought him back, comfortable where he's at. Didn't work out. And you can't miss if you don't have a lot of signings that are going to give you length. And they're not getting any length right now. I don't know what's going wrong, except, man, they're throwing some absolute meatballs up there because they're behind in the count. To me, it just looks like the pitching staff does not trust they can get outs in the zone.
So David Peterson was the bright spot here, right? All-star, giving this team length. We can show that Anthony DiComo tweet, too, covers the Mets on a daily basis. And he said they have received 594 1/3 innings from their starters this season. That is 27th in baseball. Since June 13th, a span of exactly 2 months, they are dead last in that category. He said they simply cannot keep doing this and expect to win consistently. I will point some other parts out. When you do lottery ticket signings of free agent starters, it's not going to be as perfect as it was last year every time. Example A, Frankie Montas. We mentioned him yesterday. He got demoted to the bullpen. That's a $17 million a year starter, right? That was a similar rate that you were paying for Luis Severino last year, or a Sean Manaea who broke out with the team last year. You're not going to hit on all of those. I'll give you another example, Kratz. Clay Holmes was on fire to start the season for the Mets. Didn't give up a home run in his first 7 starts. He's got good stuff. But guess what? He's never done this before. He's never done a full season as a starter. Look back at last year. Reynaldo Lopez takes the league by storm. Eventually later in the season, fades, gets hurt, and has missed most of this season as well. Not saying it's going to be the exact same fate, but relying on Clay to be as good as he was in the beginning of the season was false hope. His expected ERA was much higher. He was giving up some hard contact, so there was some batted ball luck, and that is actually reversed now. His expected ERA is actually much lower than his ERA in the second half of the season. But point being, it's all falling apart at the same time. And when we do send out a little warning at the beginning of the season that we like this team, but we're feeling a little bit uneasy about the starting rotation, it doesn't mean in April. It means now. Here we are. So let's try and get past this. They've lost 9 of 11 games so far in August. Do we think that they will bounce back? Because I think that the offense will continue to turn things around. I know Lindor has been slower since that injury, and Soto's been really consistently good all year. If you're pointing to Soto and thinking that he's the problem with around a 150 OPS plus, look up his career stats. His career stats are 150-something OPS plus. He's doing exactly what he does, exactly his brand of baseball. It is what it is. He's close to 30 homers. He gets on base. He is Juan Soto right now. So I think he takes zero blame for this.
Except if you're going to say we could have taken some of that money and invested it in a pitcher. Don't say Juan Soto sucks. He's not hitting with runners in scoring position. Besides last year, Juan Soto is not this like 130 RBI guy. He is going to be in the ilk of somebody who doesn't chase out of the zone, that Joey Votto type plus. He's hitting a ton of homers. I think he's hit his 29th homer. So he's going to have 35 to 40 homers this year, which is great. But his RBIs aren't going to be in the 130 a season because he doesn't chase. And with runners in scoring position, pitchers try to get you to chase, and he just won't do it just to drive one run in. It's just not his MO, and that's okay. It's not his fault. It is. This offense will turn around, and I actually think this offense has shown they're turning around. To me, they need to figure out how to try to get outs in the zone. When you have a 6-run lead, like last night, you cannot walk 5 batters. You can't walk 5 batters in a game when you have a 6-run lead because one solo home run never gets you back in the game. A grand slam, when 2 of those guys were walked, does get the other team back in the game. You can't walk batters. And to me, this is on the pitchers. This is on Jeremy Hefner. This is on the catching core. They have to get these guys back in the zone, and it starts tonight because they don't have a day off. It starts tonight with Senga.
Kratz, tell everyone why they need to look into a virtual private network, aka a VPN.
It's kind of like wearing trousers. It keeps everything private and secure whenever you venture out.
That's good. That's really good. And Surfshark creates user-friendly privacy and security solutions to protect your data and your privacy online. It enables you to virtually explore the globe, browse privately by encrypting your internet activity, and block ads and malware that may disrupt your experience. So go to surfshark.com/foul or use the code FOUL at checkout at surfshark.com to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. It's a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee, and the FT fam is hooked up with 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN when you sign up at surfshark.com and use the code FOUL. It is time to take control of your online security. Try Surfshark today. Yeah, they don't have many days off for a while. They have the 18th on Monday. That's it for the rest of the month. So it is what it is. If they could look back and make a trade for a starter at the trade deadline, they would. But it's too late. That's why the trade deadline is done at the end of July, and it is what it is. They're 1 game ahead of the Reds right now. It's almost a fresh season here, right? You're going to be head-to-head against the Reds, who are 1 game off of the wild card spot right now. You have the Dodgers and the Cubs ahead of them. And for the Mets, after 1 more against Atlanta tonight, it doesn't get easier. They are at home, but they take on a roaring Seattle Mariners team that can really pitch, and they can swing the bats. So it gets a little lighter after that. They have 3 against the Nats. That's probably one of the best teams to face right now. That team is not in good shape. But then it's more Braves, then the Phillies, 4 against the Marlins. You take on division opponents who have senior pitching a lot. And then the last month of the season, they do have 3 against the Reds. They have 4 against the Phillies, 3 against the Tigers. They've got some Padres in there, some Cubs in there. This is not going to be easy. So to be continued, but they need to figure this out fast. And the answer might be that they have some good pitching prospects that could be ready to go. One of them is Nolan McLean, who's going to pitch on the weekend. A lot of pressure on them, but Cade Horton's doing it for the Cubs. We'll see if they get the same kind of production here from their guys. BM in the chat said Soto's an exact replica of what he was on the 23 Padres. Individual mercenary bad fielder, overhyped. What happened to realistically evaluating this guy? What am I missing here? Looks like the same guy on defense, looks like the same guy on offense. I can't speak to how he is inside the clubhouse. Most of the Mets guys are speaking nicely of him. So and you can never accuse Juan Soto of being like a clubhouse cancer or something like that. He does not have that rep. If you don't think he's the one leading the charge in a meeting or something like that, okay. The Mets also have guys like that. Lindor is one of them. Pete Alonso to an extent, right? There's other guys there that figure out ways to kind of lead ball clubs. And also, let's just drop it with the chemistry stuff right now. Is this a chemistry issue with the Mets, or is it a lack of pitchers going deep into games?
I'm only going to hit on the Juan Soto part because we just hit on all the other stuff. Juan Soto, for his entire career, has been exactly what he is now. Last year, was he 179 OPS plus? Sure. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't get the OPS. 178. 178 OPS plus. Every other year, it's 158, 158. His MVP year was the the COVID season. But this is what you're getting. And oh, by the way, he's got 18 bags. So if you think this guy's not coming out to like win games and all this stuff, he doesn't have to accumulate stats anymore. He's doing exactly what you should have thought he was going to do, and it ain't his fault.